Out with the new, back to the old. I had put these in when I had hard water. These flappers would wear out every 9 months, so decided to go to these, and they worked okay. But this thing degrades also. And one thing I don't like is the design where there's a spacer here and a little tube, and it has to fit over this thing, and it never lasts. I even use these heavy-duty tie wraps, the ones they provide, crack, and then there's this little black rubber that fits over here to hold it down. So I have 2 of them, and it keeps leaking on here because I can't get a grip onto this Kohler replacement flush valve here. Anyway, so I'm taking this off, dual flush. I'm not going to buy these again. And I'm going back to the Kohler flapper. The way this works, of course, is the handle just comes in here and you put the screw on and then turn it, and it lifts up this float and the plunger, also called the flapper. This flapper with the little holes there just attaches to the little arms down there. And when you set this up, it's in there. You want the chain on the end of your arm to be relatively vertical. You don't want it drooping over, and you don't want it picking up. You maybe want a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch play, but that's it. And then you will adjust that blue float. The further down that blue float is, the more it's going to flush. And the higher up it is on this chain, the less it will flush. When you want to adjust this, I want it to go down a little more, you just pull this tab off and move it back on. There's a little cut in that circle. Push it on to the middle. Snaps in there. Okay, and I'll move this top one down. Also, just pulls off. Push it back on. I don't know how tight it has to be to that float, but I'll get it close enough. All right. You have several choices on how to shorten this chain. One is to take this little clamp off right here. Just slides out and opens up, and then cut this chain and stick the next bead in the top. Another one is you can try to fit that bead divider into this little gap. You may have to open it up. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And then you could try wrapping it to shorten it. That may come undone if you just try to come around here like this. Or you could tie a knot in this, like that. Remember, this plastic nut screws on, turning it to the left. You can hand tighten that. Since this is hanging down at an angle, you get a little bit of increased height on this if you need to take another 1/4 inch out. All right, let's see what happens. Remember that flapper and that float are only related to the flapper. How much water you put in here on my bowl is related to where this thing is set to. And with all manual single flush handles, the more you hold this down, the more water comes out anyway. We got some blue food dye that we don't use in food. I always put a couple drops in here. Make sure without flushing nothing's leaking in from the tank to the bowl. No more random flushes. Good to go.